On today's episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone, we're going to talk about MLW's recent Fusion episode, NWA Power and the Wednesday Night War, and much more. But first things first, we want to dedicate this episode to two fallen wrestlers. Rocky Johnson, the father of the great one, The Rock, and La Parka number 2. Not the original La Parka, we're talking about La Parka number 2. His real name is Jesus Alfonso Huerta Escorbaza. So, let's pay a moment of silence.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
All right, Nico.
Yeah.
Right now, MLW had a really good episode this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts about this one?
The Opera Cup.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
We just had a semi-final of the Opera Cup tournament between Brian Pillman Jr. versus Timothy Thatcher. But before we get to the match, the episode started where Injustice attacked Brian Pillman. Out of nowhere, because they're still ranting about how they're not being included in the Opera Cup tournament. You know, that's always been like their dilemma. I mean, come on, they don't seem like Opera Cup tournament contenders, you know, to join the whole tournament.
Well, was there a weight class?
I think they were looking for people that fit the caliber. If you follow the last Opera Cup tournament winner, Stu Hart. He was
saying that Jordan Oliver doesn't have the caliber?
No. but yeah. But it was still unclear what's gonna happen, because he was in a match whether if he's unable, that automatically leaves Timothy Thatcher to be the winner of the night. That was one of those scenarios that were being played, you know. So we had to wait and see throughout the entire episode.
Oh yeah.
So now, and then we saw that recap between Tom Lawler and the wannabe Von Erich, Rip Von Erich.
The greatest Von Erich.
Yeah. Even though the announcer's like, he's not an actual Von Erich.
Or is he the son of the greatest Von Erich?
Yeah. But yeah, and then, started out with a tag team match that was for the MLW World Tag Team Championship, currently held by the Von Erichs versus the Filthy Squad, or formerly known as the Spirit Squad.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed up in their gis.
Let's talk about that right there. First off, I forgot how hilarious Tom Lawler is. He's a comedy. He's a comedic gold. He's comedic gold. These little assholes came out in gis with one with the purple belt and one with the black belt. And actually, no, was it even a black belt? I think one was a purple belt, one was a white belt.
Yeah.
And the way they tied their belts irritated the shit out of me, considering that I do jujitsu. And I was just like, you see these guys' belts, how they tied that shit? That had me laughing.
Yeah, it was like, I think because normally when you're students, you have to wear a white belt.
Yeah,
you know, that's
entry level.
Because I took a martial arts class at City College, you know, and if you're actually wearing a gi, you have to wear a white belt. Even if you're already advanced. Here's the thing: we had some students who were advanced at the time, but they were like either a black belt or beyond that. But yeah, that's how it was. But whenever it's in City College, you have to wear a white belt regardless. That was the instructor's call.
Well, what kind of martial arts was that?
Goju-Ryu, karate.
Oh, okay. See, karate's way different from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we did have a little bit of jiu-jitsu involved. We had one guy who was an expert at. He's a black belt or third degree black belt. I'm trying to remember, but yeah. So these guys had to be called now the Filthy Squad, like reintroduce themselves as a new team.
Well, Because that's what they are.
Yeah, I mean, they align themselves with Lawler.
His students.
But, of course, there was still no match for the Von Erichs.
Well, no.
No, so, but after the match, Von Erichs won the match. Lawler attacked him again. You know, like he's still gunning for them. Like it's like he thinks that it's all their fault that he lost his title. Like it's not their fault. You know, that's how it was. Then I don't know if I saw this right. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Okay. It just like Injustice looked like they were in jail or something because they were like making a phone call.
Oh, they're supposed to be for their gimmick. That's like I was saying, my whole issue with Injustice is they got a really tacky gimmick, and I think they'd be a lot better without it if they were to do their own, and I hope that's not their own idea. Just change it up.
Yeah, not someone better hire someone who can do better creative things. You know, that's my opinion. Then we see that recap between Havoc and Mercer. Their long-time rivalry has been going more and more and more and more, you know, like...
It's a very underrated rivalry going on with them.
Yeah, we've seen Warner win, we've seen Havoc win, you know, that's always been like a never-ending battle, you know. And of course, he did say that their next battle will be in a no-rope, barbed wire match. So, that's going to take place at 0 hour. So, I'm like looking forward to it.
Is there a possibility of a loser leaves the company type of thing, and then we'll have Havoc full time at AEW?
Well, that depends on what his contract said. You know, we still don't know. I mean, look, we already seen that with Tony Schiavone, and then now we see it with MJF. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to MJF in a little bit about that.
And then a Statlander with whatever company that she was working for.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Then they already announced for one of their next events that they have for next month in February, Fightland. This one they are introducing the debut of Killer Cross, who we all know now is the hottest free agent in the wrestling business. Formerly from Impact, now every wrestling promotion wants him, especially WWE. You know, that's what. But they announced that he will be at Fightland on February 1st of 2020. But also they announced the return of LA Park. No one's had seen him since he actually speared Selena De La Renta through the table.
Yeah.
I mean, originally from what I understood, they didn't need MLW anymore. I mean, the Park anymore. And now it seems that MLW are interested in having a partnership with AAA. You know, I don't know what's the deal is, but hopefully it's a good one, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, come on, everybody loves La Parka in MLW. Especially the fan base out there, if you've seen the reaction. Then they announced a World Championship match for Fightland. Jacob Fatu versus Shima.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is a match we gotta see. You know, because, come on, Shima's legendary.
These are one of those matches. This is going to be one of those matches where, like, you're going to be like, I didn't know. This is like a dream match I didn't think that I needed to know about.
Yeah. Then we had that recap with Contributed talking about how he decimated the Strong Hearts in that 6-man tag team match last week, or a week ago, on the previous episode. And they're still, like, gunning for the Strong Hearts, especially... We now know that Shima is involved against Jacob Fatu for the world title. So, hopefully we can see the full force of the Strong Hearts. You know, because we know how Contributed are going to make sure that it stays that way. Yeah. Then we see Conan return for who knows how long. We haven't seen him. And he introduced Gino Medina. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the newest faces in MLW. And this whole thing started weeks ago, when Gino was announced that he's going to be in MLW.
Right.
And then we see Conan, he's been talking to him, and then we see Selena De La Renta, and then we see Dynasty talking about him, like saying that he could be a perfect addition to their faction. You know, basically everybody wanted a piece of him. But the real question is, who would Gino side? That's always been those questions. Like, we've seen factions that when they have someone they're interested, they try to find a way to hook them in, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if basically Dynasty kind of made more of the point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this, the way I see it. They look at Conan like he was just an old obsolete man who doesn't have anything to show for.
Right.
You know, Selena de la Renta, her kingdom is broken thanks to Contra Union, and she cannot maintain a world champion in her organization. But Dynasty, they're the kind of guys who know they can lose. They lose, but they're not just going to give up that easily.
Right.
So they were giving him the opportunity that he's better off joining their ranks instead.
Oh yeah, I'd have to say that he looks good standing with Dynasty. I really like that move because it swerved all of us. Well, can't say everyone, but like I kind of felt like I was kind of hoping that he would join Dynasty, but I didn't know for a fact. But like just by the way that he was like dressed.
But there was a good reason if we take it out of the kayfabe out of this for a bit. As you all know, MJF is officially done with MLW.
Yeah.
So he's going to be mostly focused with AEW. So to me, it looks more like Gino is his replacement, to take his spot. And I think maybe Richard Holiday and Hammerstone were like thinking we need to find someone who could step up.
Oh, yeah.
And Gino was that guy that fit the bill to join the ranks.
Some pretty big shoes there. I mean, can he match the talking skills of MJF?
I don't know. I mean, like you and I have talked about MJF a lot. That he's good with the mic. He's a great heel. He always shows the heelness that he is. So Gino, I cannot compare him to MJF. But I can say that he's gonna try to do the best he could to make an impression, especially to the fan base.
Right.
That's how I would see it. But all we can do is see what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks with Gino being part of the Dynasty. That's all I can say about that. All right, let's move on to the Opera Cup semifinal. Timothy Thatcher versus Brian Pillman Jr. Thoughts on this match?
It's pretty good. I was kind of shocked with Brian Pillman Jr. winning. I kind of had it in my whole idea that Davey Boy Smith Jr. is gonna just win the whole thing with Timothy Thatcher being the one to go over on this one. But then with Timothy Thatcher losing to Brian Pillman Jr. kind of shakes things up a bit. Like, ooh, who's gonna win? Like I really don't know.
Well, I look at this. Let's look at these two guys,
Yes.
Davey Boy Smith and Brian Pillman. We both know their fathers were in the same stable faction long ago. Davey Boy Smith's father is Davey Boy Smith Sr., as we call him. And then there's Brian Pillman, his dad. Both, they were part of the same teammates. Both of them were trained by Stu Hart, So basically, it's kind of like coming to full circle for them.
Oh, yes.
Basically, you look at these two, they're trying to leave their mark and their legacy for both their families.
Right.
But the real question is,
who's gonna get it?
Yeah. And I look at Brian Pillman, people never took him seriously. Because people always trying to say, you're in it because of your dad's name. But he's nothing compared like his dad.
Oh, no.
Because he knows he had big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But he cannot be feeling the same type of, how do I say, what's that word? I can put it up. The same type of method that his dad used. He had to go a different direction.
True.
And I see Davey Boy Smith Jr., he is going a different direction too. He has a great unique style than his dad has ever done.
Oh, yeah.
So basically I say both of them are doing fine. But I think this match in particular that's coming up with them being in the finals will, will tell the story saying these two are now going somewhere.
It's kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to, second and third generation professional wrestlers. Because one, it's easier for them to get into the business, but at the same time, it's harder for them to stay in the business because they got to keep, they got in the back of their head that they're gonna keep comparing me to my father or my grandfather or or whoever is before them.
Yeah.
If you're a
So
female wrestler.
yeah. So that's what happened at the end of the Opera Cup tournament. I mean, the semifinal for the Opera Cup tournament. Brian Pillman is in it.
Yeah.
So he will face next his teammate, Davey Boy Smith. Now, this is a match you all got to pay attention to if you watch MLW. I know I'm going to pay attention. He's paying attention. So we're just going to have to see who wins it.
Oh yeah.
And, of course, we're both biased because we both know what they can do in the ring. So we can't say, oh, Brian Pillman's going to win. No, we can't say that Davey Boy. We just got to wait and see who is in it. And I know that match is going to be the one match that's going to steal the night.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I can guarantee you guys that. And then the way they ended the episode is where you see the Von Erichs in the back. They were ambushed by Lawler again. Classic move. So that's what happened in the episode. But I want to talk to you about, I don't know if you heard this, on social media for MLW. They just signed with a new partnership.
With?
ICM Partners. I don't know who they are. But yeah, I don't know if they're still in partnership with BN Sports. I'm not sure. But I'll find more information about these guys, as soon as possible. But stay tuned for this coming Saturday. I'm assuming this coming Saturday for the MLW, it's going to be the finals for the Opera Cup tournament.
Yes.
But there is one thing I am a little concerned about in the Opera Cup finals. Injustice.
Oh, they're gonna come in and spoil everything.
Oh yeah. Besides, they say that they don't care about no dead guy who was the last tournament. You're talking about a man who trained the best wrestlers. If they were alive, they would kick their asses. and you call yourselves tough.
Yeah, it's what we call in the business cheap heat.
So that's it. What we got for Major League Wrestling. So we'll be back with more. All right, Nico.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the latest episode of NWA Power?
Let's see. Thoughts. What's my favorite part?
Well, most of
the
all,
television championship tournament.
but most of all, what do you think about the story that Nick Aldis invaded Ring of Honor?
Oh yeah, that. All I have to say is thank you, Marty, for booking that. Actually, it could be a little bit of Marty and Nick Aldis, because Nick Aldis kind of has a lot of say with what goes on in NWA. So this, I'm enjoying this British invasion.
Well, NWA invasion as I call it.
Oh, it's like the British invasions in general. You got Marty over there in Ring of Honor. You got Nick Aldis. They just brought in Stu Bennett.
His dad.
His dad. So that's where I was going with that. It's an interesting little British invasion we got going on with the other companies.
Yeah. So basically, it started out with the recap of Aldis making the invasion on Ring of Honor.
Yes.
But let's start with what from top to bottom where it started. They had an interview with the Rock and Roll Express. If you recall, there was that stipulation that Aldis put out.
Oh yeah.
So Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express had 3 people he had to pick. If his team wins, he gets a title shot for the 10 pounds of gold. And of course, Robert Gibson's already in it, his teammate. But the real question is, who were the 2 mystery partners? That was like, you just gotta wait and see. Then we see a little smack talk between both Zicky Dice and Ricky Starks. Basically, these 2 competitors are involved in a television championship tournament. Zicky Dice claimed that he's the one who's well more deserved of this title. Ricky Starks, he's the one who feels like I should be at the top because I'm working my butt off to get where I'm at.
Zicky Dice looks like someone you want to keep your children away from.
But I like how Ricky Stark kept his cool, but he also found a way to get into Zicky Dice's head. I like the way he was talking smack to him. And it got to Zicky Dice right there.
He's gonna take him to Flavortown.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then we had the first match for the television championship tournament. Zane Dawson versus Dave Dawson.
That was a fun and interesting match.
I mean, I will never forget the week before when they were pulling their names out of that little jar, and that interviewer guy, he's like saying, "Okay, we got Dave Dawson." He pulls out, and they're like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! There's a conspiracy here."
I like that. I like when promotions put brothers or faction members against each other in tournament situations, because like you could see how, if you take a look behind the scenes about it, like it just shows how much fun they're having because they know each other so well that they're comfortable enough with each other to like possibly do something dangerous or unscripted because of how much chemistry they have with each other. So I actually enjoy watching these type of matches.
Yeah, tell them about exactly the chant.
Oh,
that we were talking
about. And then the chant of the crowd, the television studio crowd in NWA Power, they were as the Dawsons were going against each other, they were going, "Let's go Dawson! Dawson sucks!" I'm just like, I heard you guys are hilarious. Who are you guys cheering for? Nobody knows because they're both Dawsons.
I mean, it's like an unknown chant.
Yes.
Because imagine if they were twins. You can't tell them apart. But even though they're not twins.
Took me a long time to figure out who to differentiate with the Usos.
Yeah, so at the end of this match, Zane Dawson took the victory on this one. So he advances.
He's the little brother, or the younger or the older brother?
I don't know. I haven't got the chance to find out who more about them yet. You know. So later we had a little segment about Colt Boom Boom Cabana. He was questioning about what's up with Mr. Anderson, about what happened the last time where he disqualified himself in a tag team match. So I think he's more starting to question more about what if Eli Drake was right about Mr. Anderson. What if he really is a prick all this time and he doesn't know it? I mean, he is considering him a friend, but only time will tell till we get there, because we have seen one of those like storytellings where friends will turn on friends a bunch of times. It doesn't matter if it's in WWE or AEW or Impact. It happens everywhere, but in a different story wise.
Find yourself getting super kicked through a barbershop window.
Oh yeah, that too. Then the next match we have is a women's match. Melina finally making her singles debut because she was in a six-man tag and also in a tag team match, facing off against Ashley Voss. Thoughts on that?
I like that match, but I feel like Melina coming back kind of stole, no pun intended, Thunder Rosa's thunder. With
I think we gotta look at this way. We know Melina, she has an impressive resume.
Yes.
Thunder Rosa, there's those who are starting to get to know her. You know, those who have seen her in the independent scenes.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. I think it's kind of not hard, but trying to, how to say, what's that word I'm looking for? Whatever the word I'm looking for. It's more like you can tell the difference who's what, you know?
Yeah.
But we cannot deny Melina's resume.
Yeah.
But I think it was great seeing her with NWA because, you know, I think since she left from wherever she came from, you know, with WWE back then, no one's has seen her since, you know?
Nah.
But now it's like she's with NWA. Now it's a good moment for her to not only reclaim her throne, but more like show the women's division that she still got it.
Yes.
You know, that's the way I see it.
Huh.
So, but yeah, it was a good match, and of course she took the victory against Ashley Voss. But of course, right at the end of the match, she was being interviewed about Allison Kay.
Yeah.
How she felt the same strongly about Allison Kay, like saying you're telling all these women they're not ready to face you, even though you hide behind you're the champion. You're supposed to lead by example. You know, Melina is like the type who say, even if my opponent loses, at least it proves they had what it takes to take me on. You're just saying they're not ready. How would you know? So I think for Allison Kay, she's like saying those days don't matter anymore. I'm like, for her, it's like it does matter because people told her over time, you'll never be a champion.
I like Allison Kay's work on the mic. She's a believable champion, and I like how it's like, I don't know if she's a heel or like a face, kind of in between. But like I like it when she was calling her out. Why next week? Why not right now? Like I was like, yeah, let's see that.
But of course, it said next week, so we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen. Then we see the next match: Shooter Aaron Stevens and the Question Mark versus Outlaw Inc. And the Pope was right there, watching. Thoughts on this match?
The Pope,
Angelo D'Angelo. He was also known as Elijah Burke. This guy's been with WWE and Impact Wrestling.
I didn't catch that. I was too busy cracking up at.
Yeah. This match was kind of interesting because, how do I say this? Aaron Stevens always trying to claim himself as the third degree national champion.
Hilarious.
And Pope is trying to say, you're not, a third degree champion. That's what he was trying to tell him.
Right.
He looks at Outlaw Inc. like, these guys have been around. You look at Homicide. He's been world champion. He's been tag team champion on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. But, of course, we know Question Mark. No one can escape karate.
Karate.
Yeah. But, of course, Question Mark got, forgot who was it, Eddie Kingston with the spike.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did do that.
And won the victory, and Pope was not really happy about the whole thing. I mean, come on, you cannot escape Question Mark's, technique.
It's too fast.
Yeah. Then we get to the main event with Team Morton, consistent of Robert Gibson, and then here comes the mystery partners, Eli Drake and Tim Storm versus the Wild Card and Scott Steiner. So, but remember the stipulation. If Team Morton wins, Ricky Morton will get a shot of the 10 pounds of gold. And it was an amazing match.
I thought it was alright. It was pretty cool. I like the whole thing about Eli Drake being the surprise third man. I'm starting to like Eli Drake. I'd love to see him finesse and weasel his way into the 10 pounds of gold. It's ever since the beginning, I was just like, whose side is he on?
I think the problem is the way I see it with Eli, he is one of those guys. Okay, yeah, he's a weasel. He is trying to weasel his way into the top, But I don't think it matters if he plays a heel or a face,
right?
Because he'll do whatever it takes to get to the top. And that's always been his goal. He's not gonna keep his mouth shut, no matter what people say about him. And right now, I think he's more focused on trying to prove a point about Mr. Anderson to Colt Cabana. But for this moment, he had to help out Ricky Morton on this one. And of course, Team Morton won this victory, and that means Ricky gets the shot of 10 pounds of gold. I'm going to see where this one's going to go.
This is next week's, right?
I think so. But before we end this segment with NWA, they just announced Marty Scurll's going to make an appearance at the NWA Power on the tapings on the 26th. Yeah. This is going to be one amazing show because we're going to see the rivalry between both Aldis and Scurll. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on this one?
I'm mouth-watering at this whole idea of seeing Marty Scurll in action on NWA. It should be fun. Like I was saying before we started rolling, the whole thing with Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll, it's kind of full circle, not just in with their promotions, but just how they came up in the business. This is really exciting.
Yeah. After that initial invasion that Nick Aldis did, where he got into Flip Gordon and threw him right through one of the turnbuckles and injured his shoulder, the following event of Ring of Honor, him and the rest of Strictly Business showed up, criticizing Skrull about, oh, you invade my house, now I'm invading yours. And here comes Brody King and Flip Gordon from Villain Enterprises, like not appreciating that these guys came to their house. You know, and of course Flip got into Aldis' face, and now Nick Aldis decided to book him to Hard Times. You know, this is not a championship match. That's what has been said. This was more like Nick Aldis is looking at Flip that he hasn't learned his lesson the last time.
Right.
If you all don't recall, those who don't know or do know, there was a match for the 10 pounds of gold that Flip was on. What was it, back in 2018? It was on, was it on the NWA 70?
I don't remember. All I remember is the last time they got together was right before All In.
Yeah, that was like right before that. And Flip came up short on this one. So this one was more like, okay, but this was more like this battle is Nick Aldis did not appreciate that Marty get into his face and invades his home.
Right.
So he decides he's going to do the same thing. But you look at Villain Enterprises, like, they're behind Marty no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the way I see it. So we may see some point down the line, you know, strictly business versus Villain Enterprise.
Yes.
So you give us your thoughts about this. Who will come out on top between those two factions? Even though this is more of an inter-promotional crossover between Ring of Honor and NWA. So we just got to wait and see where we're going to go. But if there's any upcoming pay-per-views involving these two, I will try to do the best to announce it as possible. So that is it for NWA. So we'll continue with more. So we got the continuation of the Wednesday Night War. So let's just skip who won this week. So the one who so should we tell people who won this week or
I don't think it matters anymore.
anymore? Let's just skip it. Let's go with the.
It's all the work.
Yeah, let's go with with AEW Dynamite. It started out with a tag team match between. It was a 4-way tag team match. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, Proud and Powerful, the Best Friends, and the Young Bucks. Thoughts on this match?
I thought it was just. I got confused halfway through the match. Like, I thought it was like too much. They could have easily made it a 4-on-4 or a 3-on-3, and then had like someone else in a later segment, because there was just so much going on there where I thought it was the Elite versus whoever you want to put in this, and it wasn't. It was actually the Bucks, and then Kenny and Hangman, Proud and Powerful, and then Best Friends. So I was like, wait, I got really lost in this match, and I was like, oh, okay, they're trying to get over the whole, like, what Hangman Page is doing.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to do with this one is, like, build up the story with Hangman.
Yeah.
You know, because since then he's been stepping away from the Elite.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think that's what the whole point was.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it was a good match. I'm not going to lie about that. But you got to pay attention to the story that's going on in the ring as well.
Oh, yeah, it's a hero's journey with Hangman's Page right now.
Yeah, and I think the Square Circle Psychobabble were talking about this. About how he's probably turning to that cowboy outlaw type, you know, away from the Elite.
Oh, yeah.
So, but this particular match was for the number one contendership for the AEW Tag Team Championships that's going to take place on the cruise next week.
Oh, yeah, the cruise.
So, I'm excited for that. And I'm assuming everybody's going to have a great time at the cruise. So Hangman and Kenny won the match on this one. So basically, I'm interested with the story with Hangman, how this is going to play out. So let's move on to the next, where Cody gave his response to MJF's stipulations. I mean, what do you think? Do you think he made the right choice?
Oh, yeah, easily.
I mean, he did state it in the way that this was more of a stall out of MJF's part, because he looks at MJF, he doesn't do a whole lot. He just sits back and let other people do his dirty work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he's going to prove that. Cody wants to prove that you're nothing. You just sit there and do nothing.
My favorite part about that promo when he was cutting on MJF was when he was saying that it actually should be the other way around with who's holding whose bags. Like that was like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good shot.
So he accepts the stipulations because he's not going to back down with MJF. He's going to prove him who's the real loser in the whole thing. Then we see a promo with Joey Janela.
Ooh, that was kind of cringy.
Yeah.
With like, cause like I'm a Joey Janela fan, and I'm trying to like make excuses for him, but every time he does a cringy promo, I'm like, maybe promos aren't your thing.
You know, but if you know that he's talking about Penelope Ford in some point of the promo, right?
Yes.
You see, people don't know that he and Penelope Ford actually dated, but now she's.
I thought everyone knew that.
Yeah, those who didn't actually. But now she's dating Kip Sabian. Now,
in real life, or is this all work?
Well, here's the thing. People asked ever since the whole thing with them breaking up and she's going with Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
How come they haven't done like the whole rivalry story between them? I think it's because they don't want to fall in the same kind of thing that happened with Matt Hardy and The Edge. Mm-hmm. If you recall that storyline. But this time they're going to try to make this storyline happen. You know, because I think the way I see it, Joey Janela is like saying, look, I want her to have her own spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he was trying to be more respectful to it. Mm-hmm. But I think they want to say, look, we know you dated her, but let's see where this story can go with it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. If he broke up, you know, out of good terms, then that's fine. But fans want to see what's going to happen now that she's with Kip Sabian. I think that's what they were more curious about. So we just got to wait and see when that's going to happen. Then we got the women's tag team match. Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida versus the Nightmare Collective consisted of Mel and Brandy Rhodes, along with that psycho Luther. What do you think of this one?
The match was good. I enjoyed everything about it except for Luther. Now, my problem with Luther was when in the history of professional wrestling have you ever seen a manager or a person that's a manager position sitting down next to the ring announcer?
Justin Roberts.
Taking a chair. That bothered me on so many levels, and I was like, you lazy little bitch, you're working. You're not supposed to be sitting down. You're supposed to be getting cheap heat. And my homie pointed out that, well, he just he took a low blow from Statlander or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then Hikaru actually did whack him with the kendo stick.
Oh yeah, he got whacked with the kendo stick. Either if he was playing off being hurt, he should either be like crawling away, or still be on the ground in pain. Like I was like, I've never
Well, Excalibur did say that he actually was in Japan doing death matches.
But why was he sitting down?
I don't know. Maybe
he shouldn't be sitting in a chair.
Yeah, but
that was the only thing that I had a problem with that. That nice little apron moonsault though.
Yeah.
That to me, I really like that part.
Yeah. So Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida took the victory on this one, but I'm assuming that this feud with the Nightmare Collective and Statlander is far from over. You know, because Brandy is still upset that she did not join the collective.
Hell no, it's that.
Now let's go with the Dark Order thing we've been watching. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think we need to. All right. Oh, I defended this, even though I don't like the Dark Order. So the whole thing with the Dark Order is they're building that up because apparently, I guess, when they had the little rivalry with the Bucks back in the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla days, they were a threat. They were like an actual like crazy ass tag team. So what they're doing with that is that they're porting this over on the mainstream thing about wrestling, and I get it, but I still don't like the Dark Order.
But I think the bigger mystery I think that many people are asking is, who's the leader? Who's behind Pool?
You didn't hear it?
I know, but hold on, just let me finish up, you know what I mean? Because here's the way it goes. Like, at first I thought it was Evil Uno, you know, because he's like the guy who shows up with the creepers. He does that, thing like that. I thought he was the actual leader, but later you find out, okay, there's another leader behind a leader. You know what I mean?
Jim Cornette, dog.
But of course, if you noticed in that little video they posted, they were targeting already those who they felt should join their ranks.
Yeah.
They have Michael Nagasawa, Kenny Omega, Brandon Cutler, and Hammond Page. These are people they're associated with the elite. You know, but here's the thing: why would they want Kenny Omega to join? I thought he was a threat to them. Or unless they're looking at, okay, the Bucks are the much bigger threat, and they want to show Kenny the light. You know what I mean?
Dude, that'd be the greatest. That'd be the swerve of the century if Kenny Omega's the leader of the Dark Order.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy.
It's me, Austin. It's me.
I have forgotten that one. So let's go on with the next match. We had Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. This one was part of the #1 contendership match that will take place at the Cruise. Thoughts on this match?
That was I like that match because it was a nice way of a veteran giving a rub to a what's it called, a rookie. That knee drop that Guevara did to Moxley on the apron. He's probably never gonna do it again because he hurt himself way more than Moxley got hurt.
Yeah.
I liked how Moxley was being really delicate with him and didn't just like obliterate Guevara. It was a good match. It wasn't too much of a training demo. It was more of a rub. It was more of a rub to get.
Yeah, after the match when Moxley won this, the lights turned off. Here comes the rest of the Inner Circle. Coming out for retribution for what happened the week before, where they had thought they had Moxley in their grabs to join the ranks, but he didn't. And then, the more they were being up, Chris Jericho pulled out the spike and got Moxley in the eye. And then right at the end of the whole thing, he said that Moxley did that to himself for not joining him, and he's going to beat the crap out of him if he ever makes it to the Cruise. You know, so that's what he's gonna do next week. But he was like satisfied with this. Then we have a 6-man tag team match with MJF alongside Wardlow teaming up with the Butcher and the Blade alongside the Bunny versus QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, and DDP. What do you think of this one?
I like the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny. I was mentioning this the other day. The reason why I like that those two wrestlers is they look like classic. They actually look like wrestlers. They have a wrestler's body and physique and all that stuff. And how could you not like?
If you look at the Blade and the Butcher, they both have interesting combinations.
Yeah.
You look at the Blade; he has a bit of the speed in him, and you look at the Butcher, more of the bruiser type.
They remind me of Beer Money.
Yeah, kind of like that. So that's what I like. And of course, QT Marshall continues to impress me. You know, like no one's, because here's the thing: you were impressed how he teamed up with Cody.
This is cool. This is cool. Just QT Marshall reminds me of a store-bought version of Colt Cabana.
Yeah. What do you think of DDP coming out of retirement for this one match?
I was surprised he did the cutter twice.
But I like the funny where the Bunny Alley was about to jump off the turnbuckle and DDP's like, nope. He just shoves her out of the way. He's like
pie face, real quick.
Yeah. So and then he does it himself. But of course, MJF was mostly hiding.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure that he doesn't do most of the work. So this is like one of those stories we're seeing. Okay, maybe Cody was right. He's doing less than he's supposed to be.
He ain't about that life.
Yeah. Then we see that interview with SCU, where they were talking about, of course, now they know both Sky and Kazarian are going to face Kenny and Page for the titles. But of course, here comes Hangman, with the cup of beer, spilling on a CD. Kenny, who's being the peacemaker, tries to say, calm up, back up, back up. Okay, look, I know he's out of his mind. Let's just have a friendly competition between us. I know we go way back, so let's just... But, of course, Hammond is still being out of his mind. I wouldn't be surprised that Private Party would try to talk sense into him, what they've been trying to do the whole time. Then we get to the main event, Pac versus Darby Allin. This one was also for the number one contendership match that takes place at the Cruise. What do you thought of this one?
Pretty much the same. Pretty much my same feelings about this match with Moxley versus Guevara. Pac could have easily just annihilated Darby Allin, but normally I'm not a big fan of seeing two like high flyers going at each other, but because of their high flying styles are different, it worked. I would be looking forward to seeing Darby Allin face Pac in the future for like a title, for like a championship match. I don't care who is the champion, who's the challenger.
Yeah.
I would just like to see them. I would like to see that go further.
You know, I look at Darby Allin. He does a lot of like those suicidal high flying. You know, and Pac is more of the technical type.
Yes.
You know, that's like an interesting combination of two competitors against each other. So that if you can't tell that difference at all, then you guys are not paying attention at all. You know, because these guys may be high flyers, but there's difference the way they do it. You know.
Yes.
So pay attention to that. But I have to say, I think many people were hoping that Darby was gonna take the victory on this one, but of course it was Pac.
Yeah.
But later you see that interview that Tony Schiavone was about to do with Pac. And Pac was saying that, now that Moxley's injured, he automatically wins. But Moxley's not going to stop there. Just because he got injured in his eye, it doesn't mean it's over for him. He's like that tough guy attitude. It's like, doesn't matter if he's has one eye or blind or half dead, he's still going to come after him. But no matter what, he said he's still going to beat the crap out of Pac at the Cruise to get what that belongs to him, which is the title. So that's going to take place next week at the Cruise. So better start send your DVRs or get your popcorn ready for that.
Pac's still undefeated in singles, right?
I know he lost a few matches last year. Let's see. He lost some, maybe a match or two with.
He only lost when it was a tag team, I believe.
Yeah, but yeah, there's that. Now let's jump in with NXT. They did a little recap from last week, but the one part that was a recap was the end of NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2,
which you saw.
Yeah, where we see Undisputed Era come out and attack Imperium. This was like one of those stable factions within the NXT brands. Who's the dominant one? You know, so that we gotta see. We gotta wait and see when it's gonna happen. That's gonna take place at Worlds Collide at a day before the Royal Rumble. So we'll get to that, but I will do a little review on Blackpool in a bit. So let's get on with NXT.
Yes.
Keith Lee, who we all know is the number one contender for the North American Championship. He comes out telling everybody that he's going to end the prophecy of the Undisputed Era. But the Undisputed Era considered that a threat. What do you think of it?
I didn't really believe in Keith Lee's promo too much. I think he needs a little bit more work with cutting promos. But his in-ring work is up there. I love it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, so the Undisputed Era comes out trying to shut him up or trying to take him up before he faced Roderick King. But before they can do any more damage, here comes Tommaso Ciampa making the save, as always, because he still has an axe to grind with Adam Cole. So there will be more of Tommaso later on that night, so we'll continue with that. Then we have the first round match for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
Yes.
The Broserweights, consisting of Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster from NXT UK. What do you thought of this one?
I'd like to see them two and Red Dragon be the finalists in this classic.
That would be an interesting match to watch. I mean,
But
what you think of Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle as a team now? Like, you saw?
Man, they're basically why I said what I said. They're my new favorite tag team right now. Like I never really thought that that's what I needed to see was Riddle and Pete Dunne as a tag team. Their chemistry is awesome. I just like it when they fucking kick the shit at each other. Oh, and then when he canceled what's it called when they were trying to get that pinning predicament, and then Homeboy was trying to block Pete Dunne, and he just clocked him with the straight right.
Yeah.
Whereas when he got hit, caused it to break up the pinfall. That was the best solution to someone being in his way. I really enjoyed
I have
that.
to say this is a good new form of tag team that has ever been assembled, because as much as like I said, I've been a big fan of tag teams since I was a kid, growing up watching the Legion of Doom, the Hardys. But here's the thing about tag teams that's been the tricky, it's like we've seen the two different types.
Yeah.
There's the ones that are within the families, like the Bucks, who else? The Hardys, Edge and not Edge and Christian, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Those are like the ones that we know they can last forever. Mm-hmm. Then there's the teams that known each other for a long time, dating whenever, like if they met at the gym or at the wrestling academy. Those are like the teams that are okay. They can get along great during the time they've known each other. But there's a third distinct type which they just assemble it out of nowhere.
Evil and Sonata.
Yeah, kind of like that. And we've seen that with Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah.
Those types. That third category kind of is the tricky part.
There's also the big man with the high flyer
Yeah.
style of tag team.
Yeah, so that's one of those tricky. But I have to say, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, the Broserweights, is an interesting duo.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see them more as a tag team,
Yes.
together, because they're both have two different styles the way they are, but it works, You look at Matt Riddle, a former MMA fighter, and you got Pete Dunne, who's more of the British Strong style type, and it fits perfectly. Two strong wrestlers from two different styles, and it works perfectly. And that's why they call themselves the Broserweights. So the winners for this one that advance in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is Broserweights.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited to see them advance. Then we see that recap again with Undisputed Era and Imperium. Walter, not a happy camper that they were attacking. Like, what did he expect? You think they're just gonna sit back and just let the war come to them? No, they're gonna go to the war.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought Walter, who's the leader of Imperium, was smarter than that.
Nah.
I mean, didn't he had a problem with Kushida being undefeated not too long ago?
Yes.
I mean, why did he consider attacking Undisputed Era? That's what happens, Walter. You should have paid attention. You should have known they were going to attack you. But no, you had to act like they're not going to do nothing. Undisputed Era, they don't wait. They come to you.
Yeah.
Then we see Tommaso Ciampa. As always, that psychological thing about him with Goldie. Saying that Adam Cole stole his life, because we both know perfectly well, and those of you guys who are watching, Tommaso Ciampa did not lose the title.
Nah, he was injured.
The injury kind of forced him to relinquish the title, and now he wants the title back. But of course, as always, Adam Cole does not take that too lightly. So they were about to take him out until the surprise help of Johnny Gargano. And of course, we saw DYI make a reunion. I mean, what do you think?
This is like the first wrestler where I like his theme song.
Yeah.
I don't like the way he wrestles.
Yeah. So yeah. But let's go to the next match. This one was also part of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics.
Yeah.
We had the reunion between Kushida and Alex Shelley. We know them in New Japan as Time Splitters.
Yes.
Versus grizzled young veterans James Drake and Zach Gibson.
Who?
James Drake and Zach Gibson. That's the name of the duo.
I know who they are. I just don't know who they are.
I just figured that out. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts of this match?
The match was a stupid ass match.
But you said that you would prefer Kushida and Alex Shelley.
Yeah, I'm
Explain that to them. Why.
I'm pouting right now, as you cannot tell.
Tell them why they should have won.
Because these grizzled young veterans, that's what they call themselves. I can't even remember their name. So when I found out that Alex Shelley was gonna come back with Kushida for the Time Splitters, I was like, awesome, they're together. And then when I saw the brackets, I was like, ooh, they should totally beat these other guys, whoever the hell they are, so that way we can see Red Dragon versus Time Splitters again. But what happens? No. These other guys win, and I'm like, alright, well, I guess we don't get to see that yet. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I kind of wanted to see it in this Dusty Classic.
You know, but here's the thing. After the match, when Grizzly Young Veterans won, I had that distinct feeling that there's going to be a rivalry between these two teams.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Grizzly Young Veterans respect Kushida and Alex Shelley, but they felt like this thing with them is just a thing of the past.
Yes.
You know, but not to Kushida. You know, like this is an old buddy of his. You know.
However, I did like when they said that we're not. However, I did like the part when they said that we're not going to just sit here and let these hipster fans pretend to know who you guys are. Like I was like, ooh, I like that. That was a good jab.
Yeah. And then we starting to see more of the promo with Chelsea King. Chelsea Green. You know, we still haven't seen her wrestle yet in NXT on televised. The only thing we've seen her was doing the NXT live shows and the main event.
Who's the idiot speaking for her?
Robert Stone, but I know him as Robert E. in TNA. He was the wannabe Jersey Shore type of guy. Yeah, I don't know since when he started doing manager roles. I mean, he was a wrestler back in the day.
She's not that good cutting her own promos?
I don't know. We just got to see. Then we see a World Collide promo with Finn Balor sending a message to Ilja Dragunov.
Yeah, the kid.
Yeah. I mean, he said that he looks at Dragunov as a new version of him.
Well, it reminds him of a younger version of himself.
I mean, do you think this is going to be a good match at Worlds Collide? Like Finn Balor looking at it in the mirror.
Finn Balor can make any match really good, so we'll see.
All right. Now, this next match is an important one. This is part of the Cruiserweight Championship match that's going to take place in World Collide. Now, they already have a four-way match on this one.
Mm-hmm.
2 competitors for NXT and 2 competitors for the NXT UK.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the champion, Angel Garza, is already in it.
Mm-hmm.
This match will determine who will be the second representative of NXT UK for the World Collide to be in that match.
Right.
They had Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Tyler Breeze versus Leo Rush. So, and Angel Garza was right there on commentary.
Yeah.
Observing who was going to win. What are your thoughts of this match?
I skipped that match. Who won?
Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think there were a lot that were saying they should push him a little more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because, I mean, if you guys are not familiarized with him outside of WWE, we all know him as Shane Strickland, the king of swerve.
I actually like him. I'm not a fan of Leo Rush. Leo Rush needs to be someone's manager. Leo Rush is really good with the stick.
Yeah.
Not so much wrestling.
Then we see a little get thing between Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Now, you guys don't know this. There was a tweet made by Trent Seven, a member of Mustache Mountain, saying Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are doing this again, are mates again. So he tweeted back saying to Tyler Bate, let's do this again, get this match going. He's asking for a match at Worlds Collide between DIY versus Mustache Mountain. What do you think of this? I think these are two of the best tag teams of their own time. You know what I mean? Like fan favorites, both in the NXT and the NXT UK.
Didn't the last time they fought was when Tommaso Ciampa betrayed Gargano?
I know they have reunited about last year when Tommaso was the champion for the NXT champion.
No, I mean the last time it was Mustache Mountain versus DIY. Wasn't that who they lost to?
I'm not sure.
Or am I just
I think you're imagining it.
imagining that?
Yeah, I don't
Was
think
it Revival? I think it actually was a Revival.
Yeah, it was a Revival.
There it
Yeah,
is.
that was.
And
them.
then the Revival went to
I don't think there was ever a match between those two.
Mustache and okay.
I think this is going to be the first time. I think because you got to remember back then those DIY were like the fan favorites.
Yeah.
And then you look at Mustache Mountains; they were the fans' favorites in the NXT UK. So you got two different fan favorites of those two brands that should be in the match against each other. I mean, it seems like a good match to watch. But right when they were talking about this, here comes Undisputed Era.
They tried.
They tried. But they got an unexpected visit from Keith Lee. And he pounced one of the guards.
That didn't make any sense to me because his leg was supposed to be hurt.
Yeah.
Like that was my biggest problem with his kayfabe injury right there. Was like when he got up, like he just
Yeah.
like he's not selling the injury properly.
Yeah. So the main event for this episode for NXT is the Women's Battle Royale. Whoever wins this match will face our newly champion, Rhea Ripley.
No, well, that's if she wins against Toni Storm.
Oh, yeah. True. So, I'm going to go by elimination, who goes first all the way to the winner. How's that?
The whole thing?
I wrote it down.
Damn. Okay.
Okay, so here's how it goes. First to go, MJ Jenkins, Jessie Kamea, Catalina, Kaden Carter, Indy Hardwell, Santana Garrett, Savannah Bourne, Deanna Pizzaro,
It's the only one I heard of so far.
yeah, Xia Li,
Oh, she's fire.
Casey Cantazaro from
She's also
American
fire.
Ninja, Candice LeRae,
Eh.
Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, Tegan Knox, but she was eliminated thanks to the interference of Dakota Kai. So basically, the rivalry will continue with those two. Then Shayna Baszler, but she got eliminated by the new rookie Shotzi Blackheart, and then she gets eliminated. And then Io Shirai, and that leads Bianca Belair.
See, I fast forwarded until it was just Shirai and Belair.
You know, if you guys don't know this, they did not show who won that match. Because I have it on DVR.
I saw who won it.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but yeah.
Right.
But luckily for me, I can actually, someone actually gave me a little link to see it, you know, in case I missed it. But yeah, so Bianca Belair will be facing whoever faces between both either Toni Storm or Rhea Ripley. But we're just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen. So what are your thoughts on these two shows between AEW and NXT?
Honestly, like I don't know why no one was watching NXT. I feel like NXT was the better show this week.
Well, you should know this. Apparently, Baron Corbin saw AEW Dynamite. And he had a little problem with the beginning of the show. He did not like the fact how there was that 4-way tag team match. Because they think they were giving too many spots right there.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, yes, I mean, it is the same thing. Like, we do see spots there because they want to pick up on more things, you know?
I don't all the way agree with whatever the hell Corbin was trying to say. Like it was like what I was saying in the beginning. It was just confusing. It was just just really confusing with what was going on in the ring.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just see what's going to happen next week. As you all know, AEW are going to be at the Cruise, which is going to be a real fun episode. You know, I'm excited to see where on the cruise. Hopefully the satellite connection is good.
Right.
You know, because if it doesn't, then I want my money back. But I did like NXT too. They had pretty good matches, you know, especially in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but we'll continue more. We'll continue more for the the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics next week. We'll see who's going to be in it. So we'll be right back with more. All right, Nico.
Yes.
You and I have talked about NXT UK on certain occasions. Now, you and I have not been hearing a whole lot much about NXT UK.
Not really.
Unless you have the network.
Which I do not.
Well, lucky for you, I actually saw the TakeOver Blackpool 2 that took place this past weekend.
What went down?
Well, they had some great matches, you know, like there was for the NXT Women's Championship, the Tag Team Championship, and the United Kingdom Championship. But let's go from start to finish. That way everybody can see. First match that started is Trent Seven, who is a member of Mustache Mountain and fan favorite, versus Eddie Dennis. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but I look at this guy kind of like another psychotic nutcase, you know, because he had a problem with Trent Seven. It's like taking all the spotlight. Now, there was mention on the commentary that Trent Seven was scheduled to face a jobber. But out of nowhere, this guy, Eddie Dennis, took out the jobber. That kind of reminds me like what Cameron Grimes did with Raul Mendoza when Kushida came back. If you remember that match. Remember he double stomped him and he tells Kushida, "I'll beat your welcome mat."
Yeah.
That's kind of reminds me of it, but this time it was more like Eddie Dennis is sick and tired of Trent Seven's recognition that it has to stop. But there were some good matches on this one. Like good moments, you know, like moments from Trent, moments from Eddie. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I mean, it's almost similar with NXT. But the only difference is the crowd. They do a lot of chants.
Oh, yeah, that's... You got it. Are you familiar with European soccer?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They are hyped. Like, they get super hyped. The European crowd, oh, man, like, whether it's soccer or professional wrestling, they are hyped, like, to the max. Like, they're, see, like, when it comes to, like, the Japanese crowd, American crowd is, like, in between, and then you got the UK crowd, they go nuts.
Yeah, they are. They're the ones that have most of a good time.
If you have a hard time getting hyped up, hang out with a bunch of people from the UK.
If you go on a trip.
If you go on a trip, yeah.
Yeah. So the winner for this match was Eddie Dennis. I was kind of thinking, okay, Trent Seven's going to win since he's the fan favorite. But it didn't. Then we jump in where Joe Coffey, a member of a stable faction called Gallus, he set to face Walter for the NXT United Kingdom Championship.
I've heard of Joe Coffey somewhere.
Yeah. His brother is one of the is a tag team champion.
Where?
Same with NXT UK.
Oh, okay.
They're part of a stable faction called Gallus. All Irish.
No wonder I heard of Joe Coffey. Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. And then they throw in a little recap for all three women involved for the NXT UK Women's Championship. The current champion, Kaylee Ray, Piper Niven, and Toni Storm. So basically the story is Kaylee Ray was the one that beat Toni Storm at TakeOver Cardiff. It was one of those areas in Scotland or somewhere around there, you know?
Who did what where?
It was Kaylee Ray who defeated Toni Storm for the title.
Right.
I forgot the name of the place. It's Cardiff or Cardiff. It's somewhere in Scotland, you know. But yeah, so Toni Storm hasn't been seen for months, and then all of a sudden, Piper Niven wants to get a title shot. She's like the one person that has worked real hard, you know, to get to the top. But of course, here comes Toni Storm trying to reclaim what was taken from her.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, even though she's friends with Piper Niven, Tony felt that Piper should not get involved in this because it's like it's not her time. But Piper's like saying, "I'm not backing down. I'm not gonna give up on what I've worked so hard to get to." And basically, they made a decision to turn this into a 3-way match. So it starts out with that match with all three of them in the same ring. Now, most of the focus was kind of like between Kaylee Ray and Toni Storm.
Right.
Basically, the rivalry hasn't been ending, and Piper's like the one being left out. But she decided, to crash in the little party to get the recognition.
Oh, yeah.
There was that. Now, there was a moment in this match. I don't know if you know this. Toni Storm and Piper Niven are good friends. Kaylee Ray was about to take out Toni Storm with the chair around her neck.
Mm.
And out of nowhere, Piper Niven saved her. Now, the commentary's like, why did she do that? Why did she save her? It was every woman's for themselves. Like,
Right.
yes, but do you think she's going to allow her to take her out that way?
Yeah.
No. And then there was a moment when Toni Storm had the chair right in her hand. And Piper begged her to whack her. And guess who was watching right outside of the ring? Kaylee Ray. Like, she wanted Toni Storm to whack her with the chair. But Piper was begging her to do it, but she didn't do it. She put the chair down, and then they focused their attention on Kylie Ray.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed, like, saying, okay, they know what's at stake. They both want this title. And Kaylee Ray, who's trying to maintain her legacy in the NXT UK as the women's champion. But the one thing that was hard, it's like, who was going to win this one between these three? I mean, I have to say that all these three women are throwing a lot of good parts in the match. But sadly, Kaylee Ray took this one. She actually took the advantage when Toni Storm put Piper Niven in her signature move and took kind of like removed her out of the way and take the pinfall. And that's how she won. And Kaylee Ray retained the title on this one.
Mm.
Now, they jump in with a little recap between a long-time rivalry that's been 3 years in the making between Mustache Mountain member Tyler Bate versus Jordan Devlin. Now, this rivalry goes back all the way to NXT UK Championship Tournament. I don't if you remember that tournament.
Was this the one where Jordan Devlin was going on about being like the greatest like Irish wrestler, and then Prince Devitt came out and cracked at him?
Yeah, but his personal problem was with Tyler Bate.
Right.
Tyler Bate was the one who was getting the more opportunities.
Yeah.
He felt that he was being over the entire time.
Mm.
So this was like one of those matches that kind of like saying, there's a good story to tell. You look at Tyler Bate, who is well recognized throughout the NXT UK,
Not just the UK, but almost the world. He's
Yeah,
like one of the best, youngest wrestlers right now.
Yeah, and he's the one who's being more recognized. Well, Jordan Devlin is way down here, trying to be noticed, but all the opportunities were being passed on to Tyler Bate. And this is where it led to this match between those two for Blackpool. Now, of course, like I said, much like Trent Seven, Tyler Bate was like the fan favorite to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, this rivalry was intense during the ring. I was like, dang, I never witnessed this type of rivalry like this in a different level,
Mm-hmm.
Because I still got a whole lot to learn about what's been going on that side of the world.
Right.
Because we hardly pay attention to NXT UK.
Not really.
But luckily I found a way to keep an eye on it.
Ooh.
I'll give you the link to that. But yeah, so basically this was one of those matches that stole the night. And it did. Like, at some point during the match, it turned into the half and half. people were rooting for Jordan Devlin. The other half, Tyler Bate. And it was like, oh my God, this is gonna be one of those matches that steals the night. So I'm like at the edge of my feet, trying to see what's gonna go with this one. And I was like impressed what Tyler Bate was doing in the ring. Like he was showing that he was not gonna give up that easily. But of course, at the end of the match, it was Tyler Bate that won. But guess who was right there watching? Triple H, William Regal, and NXT UK General Manager Johnny Saint.
Johnny Saint. Good old Johnny Saint.
Triple H was impressed with Tyler Bate's performance.
Well, he's always been impressed with Tyler Bate, man.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they call him into the main roster. But I think Tyler Bate should come back and forth with both NXT brands.
Who won the match?
Tyler Bate.
Tyler Bate? I'd rather see him be like the main guy in NXT than the main roster. He goes on the main roster, he's just gonna
Be lost in the shuffle.
lost in the shuffle.
Then we jump in with the recap for the upcoming ladder match for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships.
Ooh.
In consistence of the current champions Gallus, Wolfgang, and Mark Coffey versus grizzled young veterans, Imperium's what's their name? Fabian Archer and Marcel Barthel. And then of course Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrew. Now, this rivalry took it way too far, the way I was hearing the story. Grizzled young veterans were attempting to steal the titles because they've been trying to regain those titles back. Now, Johnny Saint and this other guy had enough of these four teams bickering at each other's throats. They felt that they disrespected the meaning of these championships. So, he decided, let's put this up there in a ladder match. And grizzled young veterans think this is ridiculous, that it's unfair, that this is not the right way for a match. But come on. You guys were trying to steal these titles. Yeah, I mean, and grizzled young veterans were the first ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions. So at this point, they're like the team that are currently desperate. You know? But yeah, it was like... But much like any ladder match, you there's always those moments.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Bodies are flying.
bodies are flying through the freaking ladder, through a table, or however you imagine. Doesn't matter how. But it was still unclear who was going to take the victory on this one. I was thinking either Gallus or Imperium might be the ones to do it. I was thinking Gallus might retain the titles, or Imperium were going to be the ones to gain it. Because I look at them like they're still trying to be that dominant faction, you know, alongside Walter. But sadly, Gallus retained the titles. So the Irishman took the victory on this one. So I'm excited. I'm like saying, okay, so at least these guys retain the titles. Then we jump into the main event. The challenger from Gallus, Joe Coffey, versus Imperium leader Walter. Now, this was one of those matches where, you know, you don't know exactly who's going to win. If Joe Coffey wins this one, at least Imperium gets most of the titles. And I was like, didn't know how this was going to play out at the end, but the match itself was great, you know. You got two dominant males who are trying to say who's gonna, like, one trying to retain it, one who's trying to gain it. And I wasn't sure how this was gonna be played, but there was one member of Imperium that actually decided to help out Walter. That's Alexander Wolf. He, as a loyal stooge that he is to Walter, he decides to help him out. it kind of did.
Mm.
And sadly, Walter retained the title. But much as Imperium tried to maintain they still won the victory, that's when we saw Undisputed Era showed up and attacked them out of nowhere. But they took out Walter like trying to prove a point. You know, because Walter is the type of guy we've seen that he will not tolerate others who try to be either undefeated or try to be more dominant than him.
Oh, shit.
I think, in my opinion, he overlooked Adam Cole. Because Adam Cole has stated over time that he's one of the greatest champions in NXT. And I think Walter should have paid attention. And this rivalry between both Imperium and Undisputed is going to take a great match at Worlds Collide. So I have to say, Blackpool 2 was a great event to watch. You know, I know that in the NXT UK they don't have like a lot of takeovers like here in the States.
Right.
You know, I think they only do on certain occasions. You know, like Blackpool and can't pronounce the other one.
But when they do, it matters.
Yeah. So yeah, but there will be more of NXT UK. Hopefully I can get to watch.
Yeah.
You know, to pay attention because, like I said, we hardly hear more things about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like we talked about, the crowd over there is very hyped.
Yeah, they're lit.
You know, so I mean, if we ever go to the UK, we probably will see it in person, then rather than hear it or believe it.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what I got for today. So if you guys are interested of NXT UK, try to find a way, even if you don't want to pay the network. But yeah.
Well, if it's your first, if you're smart about it, and I'm not condoning doing these illegal actions, but if you have a burner account with your with the email, you can just have one free month. And get it that way.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for now, but we'll be right back. All right. The last thing we're going to talk about is two things from each of us. So, Nico, you just had a change of heart about Ring of Honor.
Oh.
Explain why.
Well, what had happened was I was unaware that. I had to ask him. It all started with a tweet. Not necessarily a tweet, a text, if you will. I was like, did I say that Ring of Honor was finished on camera?
Yeah, it did.
Well, with what has been going on with the last 2 weeks, I stand corrected, and thank you, Marty.
I have to say, I think Marty is the true savior of Ring of Honor.
Oh, easily.
Because here's the thing. We all know the Elite were the ones that made things happen in Ring of Honor during their time there. But now Marty's going to do some great things in Ring of Honor, don't you think?
I wouldn't put it all on the Elite. I would have to say that there's like Adam Cole, Kevin Steen, Generica, CM Punk, Samoa Joe. But the Elite, they're all also up there with like making ROH what made people gravitate towards ROH. But my last comments about ROH was very unsavory. I mean, well, what do you expect? I'm not a mind reader.
No,
I can't predict the future.
None of us can predict things, but we can try to second guess it if it's possible.
Insinuate.
Yeah. So, as you know, he has a change of heart about Ring of Honor.
I was wrong.
But now I think many fans should start paying attention to Ring of Honor now that new things are about to happen, and we just gotta wait and see what cool things is gonna be brought into the table.
Yes.
From what I can tell. I heard that Marty's doing like a free show or something like that for Ring of Honor.
Believe so.
Something like that. So that's one of his ideas that he's throwing out there, and I think it's a good thing to get more fan base to come down to to their show. So, but yeah. So if you guys are feeling You should pay attention to Ring of Honor. You should.
Have you seen the card for Super Card 14?
That is going to be great. That's going to take place on WrestleMania week, from what I understand. I think they have Will Ospreay, Jay White, Shingo Takagi, and is there any other people that they announced?
I believe God and Kenta.
So that's going to be interesting to see. So pay attention to that, and then there'll be no problem. So, but I want to talk about the events that are taking place in WrestleMania week. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, there's other wrestling shows that take place from different promotions or the local areas in whatever city these guys are in. Doesn't matter if it's in Orlando or New York, LA, Chicago, New Orleans. There's always more events taking place on that week. Mm-hmm. But there's more than one that takes place each day. You know, because if you guys don't know this, I follow Puma King. You know, I follow him on his YouTube channel. He did a little episode where he did 3 shows in one day. And 3 during the WrestleMania week. I think, I don't remember when was the last one. It was New York, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, I'll look it up later. But yeah, but here are, if you guys are paying attention, but here's the thing. Some of these events I will mention that will be on Fight TV. So here are in order. Starting on Tuesday, March 31st. Now, I don't know much of these promotions, but I'm just putting it out there. So you pay attention if you guys are from the area going to WrestleMania. We got Tampa Pro Wrestling, Generation Championship Wrestling, 11A Pro Wrestling. That's taking place on the 31st. Now, April 1st, which is a Wednesday, and of course April Fool's Day for everyone, Punk Pro Wrestling, Generation Championship Wrestling, and Platinum Pro Wrestling Lucha Mania 4. Interesting. Thursday, April 2nd, GCW's Jimmy Lloyd's D-Generation F. Yeah, that's interesting. Wolf's Night Out, The Nightmare Before Mania. Accelerated Stage 1 Wrestle Expo, aka YWWN. Texas Forever. NJPW Lions Break 3.
Tanahashi is going to be there.
You think they'll put on the New Japan World?
Oh, yeah. No, of course.
Okay. Just making it out there just to be sure. Yeah. Then there's Acceleration 2. Wrestle Expo, aka WWN, Prestige Wrestling, Full Throttle Pro Wrestling's Tampa Bay Mania Beer Run, the Mark Hitchcock Memorial WrestleCon Super Show, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 3, that's going to be on Fight TV, and that's the match between Jon Moxley and Josh Barnett. Mm-hmm. Progress Wrestling, No Peace Underground, Uncanny Attractions, Drags, and Dropkicks Volume 4, WWN Super Show, You Bore Out the Dark, and finally, Absolute Intense Wrestling Thursday in Paradise. That's a lot of events on that day. So, I don't know who'd be dumb enough to go see all of them. I would.
Well, if you're a professional journalist for professional wrestling, you got a lot of stuff on your plate.
Definitely. But I will go with the ones that I probably would like to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. You catch the ones that you can catch, and then watch the rest on your phone like I do.
Okay, now April 3rd, which is a Friday, and I'm assuming this is going to be on Fight TV. GCW for the culture. Oh, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling with DDT.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's gonna be in the States, right? Mm-hmm. This is their first time.
Evolved 149. Pizza Party Wrestling Birthday Bash. Ethan's Page Body Guy Extravaganza. Now, this one is being hosted by Ethan Page, who is the current Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champion. Yeah. Shimmer 120. And this one also on Fight TV, I hope. Joey Janela's Spring Break 4. To be announced, but this one's sponsored by Wrestle Expo, aka WWN. I think this one is the one for the TNA reunion.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did announce that.
Marcus Crane, Bondage, a Go-Go. I don't know why they call these ridiculous names.
Because it's fun and inclusive.
Yeah. SmackDown Live with 205 Live. Kaiju Big Battle. BLP Threat Level Midnight. And that's it for that day. Now we go to Saturday, April 4th. Effie Big Gay Brunch.
Oh yeah, that's coming. Yes, that is.
Wrestling Revolvers, Pancake, and Pile Drivers.
Yep.
Evolve.
Eh.
Pop-Up Wrestling Nightmares Before Mania. Fest Wrestling presents Metalcade 2020 and Justice for Brawl.
Metalcade?
Metalcade.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says. Glory Pro. WrestleCon Worldwide.
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah. WXW 16 Karat Gold Revenge.
Ooh, that sounds important.
And of course, NXT TakeOver. I'm assuming it's NXT TakeOver Tampa. Joey Janela's Penis Party. USA Pro Wrestling's A Night of Violence.
Ooh.
Supercard of Honor. To be announced by Wrestle Expo KWWN. Freedoms, another expo to be announced. Warhanson WrestleVania. Is that guy with the little creepy makeup. That's it for that. Now, finally, Sunday, there's only two taking place, which is WrestleMania Day, Suburban Fight Pro Wrestling, and then WrestleMania.
Suburban Fight for Wrestling? Where are they going to be at? They're going to be in
Tampa.
Tampa?
Yeah, and then there's...
Who's going to go to that?
That's taking place at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, they're smart then. Okay.
Then we got the WrestleMania for the 5th of April. And then, of course, Raw the following day.
The Fallout.
Yeah. So basically, these are events that are taking place throughout the week. Now, if you're planning to attend WrestleMania throughout the week, then now you know there's some wrestling you can catch. Now, if you guys are unable to go, there are the ones I mentioned. You can see them on Fight TV.
Yeah.
Like they have been known to throw this a lot. That's like a lot of
Sounds
money.
like a lot of them are going to be very close to each other.
Yeah. There are some that are not going to be like near Tampa. They're going to be like outside of Tampa.
Well, that's what I meant. Like they're going to be on the same coast.
Yeah. Like there was a moment I remember watching Stardom during WrestleMania week. They were here it was in New York. But guess where they actually had to rent the venue from? House of Glory.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm assuming that they're going to be a lot are going to be renting the same place.
House of Glory's not doing anything?
They're normally a base New York show.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there was talk they want to do tours, but that never got around. But yeah, so that's what's going to happen for WrestleMania week. Pay attention to those. If there's any of these that I mentioned that it's going to be on Fight TV, if you're able to buy some, I know like I said, there are those I'm going to be able to pay for. That's the ones I'm going to watch. The ones I'm looking forward to is Spring Break 4, because Will Ospreay is going to make his debut, and Great Muta. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 3, which is Jon Moxley versus Josh Barnett. Finally. And I'm trying to remember anything else. Oh yeah, I think they're gonna throw in the TNA reunion. So pay attention to those if you have Fight TV. If you guys don't have it, get the app now. So I think that's it. What we got today. So if there's anything you guys like that we talked about, leave a comment down below. If there's anything that we missed or we should talk about, again, leave a comment down below. So on behalf of Deleted Rest Zone, I'm J-Rod.
Nico.
We must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye and have a nice day.
And hail Contra!